Hey everybody. Yeah, this is our first video since I asked you for some feedback, and the feedback was overwhelmingly like, thank you all who did it. So kind, very much appreciated. And you were all like the same, but like shorter. Don't lose the vibe, but just tighten it up. So we're trying it. We're trying it, and I hope it turns out. Anyway, so today we are talking about the great Final Fantasy VII. My goodness. Yeah, I finally made it. Uh, I've been looking forward to this one for a long time. If you don't know, I've been playing my way through the entire series, and I am now on Final Fantasy VII, which I am playing the original PS1 version. So that is what you get. And I am much farther in the game currently than the footage will show, but that's totally fine. Like, I don't want to give anything away. There are many twists in the tale, so showing you stuff from the beginning is likely a good idea. Anyway, so yeah, let's talk about this one. 1997, the first 3D. That's right. Let's talk about some things that are new. As opposed to Final Fantasy 1 through 6, which had a vibe. You know, especially like 4, 5, and 6. Like, ooh, yeah, really interesting and fun, and like really started to flesh out what it means to be a Final Fantasy series game. But you get to 7 and it's special. There's something about it, and let's talk about what those things are. First of all, 3D. This is the first 3D game. And I know I have listened to so many reviewers be like, you know what game is actually overrated is Final Fantasy VII, because those graphics, they're like, I'm not talking about the remakes. The remakes are cool and whatnot. And this is prior to Rebirth, which like, oh, I hope to finish the rest of Final Fantasies, and then by then Rebirth will be cheap enough that I'll be able to pick it up, and then I'll be able to look back and be like, okay, how'd you do? How did you do at this? But yeah, I'm loving my playthrough thus far, and I don't mind how it looks, which is crazy because I hated polygon graphics at first. I really did. I thought Star Fox looked crappy. For real, I did not play it. Actually, I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. As a gamer who has played many games, I have never played any Star Fox game. I own multiple Star Fox games. I've never played them. The closest I've ever come is playing Star Fox in Smash Bros. Anyway, yeah, sorry. Apologies all around. But anyway, like, I hated polygon graphics, and I hated like Virtua Fighter. Ugh. I just thought it looked so stupid. I was like, there's no way this is the future. And I'm so glad I was right about that. That's for dang sure. There's no polygons in modern gaming graphics, pretty sure. Anyway, but it's 3D, which is unique and interesting. You get these camera angles, which are kind of terrible a lot of the time, but it's 3D. Second new thing is breaks. A special power-up character move. It's not that you haven't had like special moves before, because like in various games you've had like, souls and things that you capture, that you use like the soul energy, and it's a, like an extremely powerful hit. the thing now is brakes, which like you power those up. There are different ones, but as you level up, and you have a little meter that builds up, and then once it builds up enough, you get to. It's basically like hitting slightly better than a crit, which is pretty good. Is pretty nice, and sometimes they come at very opportune times, which I totally appreciate. And it adds a new interesting wrinkle, like how quickly your brake meter builds up. Some characters seem to be, I don't know if they actually are, but seem to be faster than others at building it up. That's just my observation. Maybe that those characters currently in this playthrough are at a lower level, may just be what it seems to me. But anyway, brakes, interesting. Materia, there's like, this is a new thing where like you add materia in notches. You know, it's kind of like the notching system with gems in the Torchlight series. Except obviously Final Fantasy VII came out before Torchlight, but similar thing. Like you gain effects from the materia that you place in the slots, and it's actually where you get your spells for your magic. And so there are elemental ones, there are ones for healing and whatnot, and you attach these to weapons and other items that you can wear, and you attach these and then you gain the magical effects of them. And so finding, buying, and getting materia is now a key component of the game, because rather than jobs, because your character's like Cloud is a soldier, like he basically worked for a soldier, which is an organization instead of like a job description, but basically he is a soldier. And you will actually see in the characters the old jobs from the previous game series. They just don't use them as jobs. It's materia now. So that is a major change. Which, like, it means they took our gerbs. They did. They took the job system away. It is gone. They took our gerbs. Yeah. And, you know, while I appreciated the job system in the previous games, sometimes it was a real pain in the neck, because, like, some of those later games, there are so many jobs. Like, they added another tier of jobs to the jobs that there had been from previous games. And so you get to a point where you're like, okay, but I'm really high in the job that I have. Do I really want to take on a new job and go out and grind a whole bunch to like get to be moderately okay at that job and maybe as good as at that job as I am at this job by the end of the game? You know, like, yeah, that was kind of annoying with the job system. And so the materia system, like, it addresses that part of the game, you know, having these you know, the types of magic that you can employ without having to be a white mage, a black mage, a red mage. So it's an interesting system. Anyway, yeah, here's the other interesting thing, is that Final Fantasy VI was steampunk, literally, like very straightforwardly steampunk. Final Fantasy VII is cyberpunk. Like, it literally is. Like, it is cyberpunk as all get out. And it comes to us just a mere 4 years after Beam Software's Shadowrun on the SNES. So yeah, it is classic, both classic era in the concept of cyberpunk and classic, like, all the tropes are there. So it is as cyberpunk as you could ever want anything to be, and it's beautiful. Honestly, I love it, because it's an interesting way to build a world. I'm sorry, people still write cyberpunk novels and stuff, and there's still cyberpunk movies. And if I remember correctly, there are cyberpunk video games that are popular even now today. So, yeah, don't come at me about cyberpunk. It's awesome. Anyway, so yeah, one of the things I think is really interesting as you get into the game, you realize your character, Cloud, he doesn't care about anything. Like the impending doom of the planet. He's like, I don't care. He doesn't. He really, really does not care. Which is, it makes it interesting to root for him. Over time, it gets better, but like, at first you're like, oh, I don't know about the guy I'm playing. Which I haven't felt that way about anything since Jay McInerney's Bright Lights Big City, a novel you don't need to read. Like, I absolve you of needing to read that novel. You are forgiven. Anyway, regardless. But yeah, you know, one of the things I will say is that just the overall vibe of this game, it is magical to be in Midgar. You know, in the first way that it appeared in the world, you know, but like, if it weren't such a magical place, would we have, you know, Crisis Core and its iterations, and Last Order, the decanonized anime, and Advent Children, and Dirge of Cerberus. I can say things. And the reissue, and the remake, and the rebirth, and also 3 YA novels, which are some of the only things on this list that I don't have. Like, I have most of the Final Fantasy VII related things. And yeah, I don't have Rebirth. Yeah, and it's gonna be a while before I do. Just because, like, I can't buy games right when they come out. That teacher salary and whatnot. Anyway, regardless, let me put a final score on this, and then we will all go home happy. So, the final score for Final Fantasy VII, a delightful, delightful game that you can feel the weight of its reputation as you enter the game, and it feels like, oh, we are now entering the hallowed halls of Final Fantasy VII. You know, there's a reason people keep coming back to it. That's why we're giving it a 9.5 out of a possible 10 Akiras from Virtua Fighter, which I thought looked so ugly when it first appeared in the world. Hated those polygon graphics, but eventually we got it right. Right. Anyway, people, thanks for being here for this one. I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.